All right, I was afraid that other video got lost. Baruch Hashem, we have the other video. It's here. The phone shut off, and then I ran into this road closed. I'm 20 minutes from my house, and the road is closed. The bridge is out. Whatever. I don't know. It's like this. Now I'm on like this dirt road. I was able to find, even though I didn't really have too much reception, I was able to basically find the map on Google Maps. I won't be able to put on the GPS, but I'm pretty sure if I follow this, I'm going to be good. So I don't know exactly at what point that last video we were recording got cut off. I will be uploading it because I think it's important. In the meantime, I did listen to what's that guy, Dennis Prager, for a little bit, but I really think it's more important for me to share something than just for me to listen at this point. So, although I should really be learning Torah, but I'm not. I got to keep my eyes on the road at this point of the drive. If it's somewhere where I know it's a different story, I can be a little bit distracted. I know it's not right, but it is what it is. But this, and it's a new place, and I should be learning Torah in such a place. Let's just learn a Mishnah before we start our thing. Does that go through? I don't think so. So Rabbi Chananya ben Akasha Omer. Rabbi Chananya ben Akasha said, "Ratza Kadosh Baruch Hu l'zakos es Yisrael." The Holy One, blessed be He. That's how the rabbis called God quite often throughout the Talmud. Another term would be Hamakom, the place, which would mean like the omnipresent, the one who's everywhere. But the Holy One, blessed be He, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What's the Kadosh Baruch Hu? L'zakos es Yisrael. God wanted to bring merit to Yisrael. When we say Israel, we mean the nation, the Ummah, the Am Yisrael, the Jewish people, our religious community of the Jewish people, which in ancient times included the other tribes, and after the tribes were separated and lost, at the moment we only have the Jews, the people who came from the kingdom of Judea, the southern kingdom, and those who who joined them throughout history. Now there's somebody behind me, because I guess I'm not the only one with this issue. It's not really good for my car to be driving on these dirt roads, although it's quite interesting. I've never been down here before. So Ratzah Kadosh Baruch Hu l'zakos es Yisrael. God wanted to bring merit to the Jewish people. Lefichach, therefore, here b'lahem, He increased upon them. He gave them a lot. Torah u'mitzvos. Torah, teaching of the law. The other day I gave my wife an old siddur from a Hebrew publishing company, and she said, "What is this? The order of the reading of the law? What is this? What? Torah u'mitzvos. Mitzvos are commandments. The word law doesn't really capture what I think it said. Butcher Road is where we're supposed to go from here, right? Doesn't look right. This doesn't look right. It makes sense for me to go the other way. Torah mitzvos, commandments. Torah, the Greek word that Torah is translated to is nomos, nomium. Like that's where we get the word Deuteronomy, Deuteronomium. It means the second or the repetition of the nomium, of the law, of the Torah. makes sense for me to stay to the left because I turn right and that's where I'm heading. So I'm going to go this way. I should just keep the map on, but it is what it is. If I get lost, I'll turn around. God wanted to give us merit, therefore He gave us a lot of Torah and mitzvos. Shenamar, this is called High School Road, and where I come out will be by the high school, so I think we're on the right path now. Lefichach hier b'lim Torah mitzvos. Therefore, God wanted to. Why did God give us this religion? Because He loved us. He wanted to give us merits. He wanted to make us meritorious. He wanted to give us something. He wanted to reward us. He wanted to give us something positive. And so therefore He gave us lots of opportunities to do that. Shenamar, and then He quotes from Isaiah, Adonai chafetz l'ma'an sidko yagdil Torah v'yadir. The Lord desired for the sake of His righteousness to make the Torah great and mighty. I just wanted to say that just because I don't know if a Mishnah had ever been learned on this road, in this place. Oh, and now I know where I am. And so therefore, I wanted to make a tikkun on this place, even though I'm nobody to be making tikkunim. I'm a big sinner, but this is something we can all do. Make spiritual rectifications in this way. Let's go back to what our subject matter was, Parshas Shlach, and refer back to my previous videos if you want to have more information. And I thank you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, for getting me back on the right road. Baruch Hashem. So anyway, Parshas Shlach begins with the spies and ends with tzitzis. And how can we tie those together? And there's a story that, to me, reflects this. The spies, when they go out, they're told, what are they told? Check out these cities in this land that we're entering. Are they strong or are they weak? Are they fortified or are they open? And I always ask people, so which ones are strong, which ones are weak? This is the first time I'm back in New York, and since Thursday, a week from before yesterday. Been away. So I would have been home already if I didn't have to take that detour. But it's good. You learn another way. You learn another route. That's a powerful thing. So which ones are strong and which ones are weak? We're talking about cities that have walls around them and cities that don't have walls around them. And most people say, well, if it has a wall, then it's strong because the wall is strong. And if it's weak, and if it doesn't have a wall, it's weak because it doesn't have a wall. Right? Maybe we can talk, the other day I said I didn't want to talk about the politics of this. Maybe we can talk about that, but let's put that aside for now. Rashi says the opposite. He says that the cities that have walls around them are inherently weak, and that's why they need a wall to protect them. Cities that don't have walls around them are strong because everybody's scared of them, and so nobody will want to mess with them. I mean, what I understand is, like, again, I'm not a Zionist, but we'll talk something about a story I heard about that in Israel, where there's these shetachim, the settlements. You have in some of these, like, what they call disputed territories, whatever. They all have, like, walls around them, fences around them, except one. I think it's Bat Ayin, and, like, the whole idea is, like, I mean, it's a religious kibbutz, but it's also, like, really, like, hippie, weirdo people there, is what I understand. And, like, I don't know, like, in the middle of the night, they go out and they're, like, howling at the moon or something. Again, I'm exaggerating. These are the things that you hear. I don't know if it's true or not. I'm talking about, 17, 18 years ago hearing this. I don't know if that's true now. Probably isn't. Doesn't really matter. What the point is the story is, like, and they understand themselves as spiritually strong. Whether they are or aren't is a debate. But that's how, and so they feel like they don't need a wall. God is protecting them, perhaps. Again, whether that's common sense, whether that makes sense, whether that's in line with Judaism, obviously God is always protecting us, whether there's a wall or there's not a wall. But the manifestations that God's in the wall also. God is everywhere. But when we talk about divine providence, there is that certain level of personal responsibility of nature that God created. Again, but that's not our point. Our point is, though, that when Moses sent the spies out, it would seem, according to our commentators, that the cities with no walls were the strong cities, and the cities with walls were the weak cities. The end of the Parsha Tzitzis, the fringe garments that we wear, the Jewish men wear, and I guess in the egalitarian communities the women also wear. That's not our tradition. It's not the end of the world for a woman to actually affix tzitzis to her garments. She's not obligated to in Jewish law. But the bigger problem really is that it's a man's garment to a woman's garment. I would say if a woman were to attach tzitzis to a garment that's I don't believe that tzitzis can be understood as a gender neutral garment. There are in the Targum, when it says a man shouldn't wear women's clothing, a woman should wear man's clothing, part of it is understood that tzitzis and tefillin are men's clothing. There's one of the Targumim that say that. But beyond that, we can discuss the issues of mitzvah saseshes man grama, time-bound positive commandments, things like this, which women are exempt from. Doesn't mean that they're prohibited from engaging in. Generally, my approach is men, if they wear four-cornered garments, are obligated to attach tzitzis to those garments. They fulfill a mitzvah when they're wearing them, so therefore it's a good practice to wear the fringed garment, whether it's underneath the clothes, whether it's a tallis on top of the clothes, whether it's both. A woman is not obligated. She can wear a four-cornered woman's garment. She cannot wear a man's garment. But a four-cornered woman's garment, she is not obligated to attach tzitzis to such a garment. She's not committing what we call bitul aseh, meaning when the man fails to attach tzitzis, or his tzitzis are not kosher, or so forth, it's a bitul aseh. A woman, it's not a bitul aseh, because she has no obligation. If she wants to, according to halacha, to a woman's garment, technically it would be okay, but it's not our practice. And one of the reasons is that it's considered to be mexicura. It's considered to be arrogant because it's not something that's typically done in our society. Now, if you want to, though, say that that this depends on the culture, and that the distinct culture of the egalitarian communities is distinctly different than the distinct culture of the traditional Orthodox communities, I can see that there could be an argument to be made there from a halachic standpoint. Meaning, if you had an egalitarian community that was committed to halacha in a certain sense, which most of them are not, but there are some that are, and even though some of them say they are, maybe the rabbi is, and people aren't. I mean, I'm just being honest about. I know a lot of Orthodox people are like, no, they're all heretics. A lot of them are heretics. They're not all heretics. And that kind of attitude makes more and more of them heretics. Is kind of my approach to it. A lot of egalitarianism shouldn't be that main issue that separates us from other communities any more than if you daven Nusach Ashkenaz or Nusach Sfarad. What should separate us is belief, dogmas, Torah min Hashemayim, things like that. And the fact is that most people who attend conservative or reformed synagogues do not believe Torah min Hashemayim. Some of their rabbis do. The reform, it's almost non-existent. Conservative, there's a small amount who do believe that. That should be the cutoff. And it's interesting how the split in the conservative community became more about, are you egalitarian or traditional, and less about belief. And even though I don't really like that word orthodox, it's apt. It's an appropriate term because our issue is not orthopraxy, but orthodoxy. Orthopraxy should be the fruit of your orthodoxy, but the main thing should be your doctrine, and the practice should be your expression of your doctrine. And and a lot of people who identify as Jews outside of the Orthodox world, and even some, unfortunately, inside the Orthodox world, are stricken with heresy. And I do believe that, even again, a lot of people disagree with me on this, and they feel that adherence to legalism is more important than faith and belief issues. And I hear what they're saying, although the fact is that faith and belief is a legal issue. And I think those are the fundamental legal issues. The fact that the Shulchan Aruch doesn't mention that that a convert has to express belief in their conversion, a lot of people would say, so that means that all that matters is the acceptance of the commandments and not the belief. The Rambam does include it. My understanding, this is the way I read it, is it goes without saying. Why are you doing this if you don't believe in it? If you don't accept the basic dogmas of our faith? Again, that's not our subject right now. What I did want to get to is tzitzis. It says, Arisa Maisai. You should see it. Interesting, it doesn't say Risa Mosam, it says Risa Moso. That you in the plural should see it in the singular, and not you in the plural should see them in the plural. We'll put that aside for now. You can meditate on that. And there's something that should come obviously to one's mind, I think. But let's put that aside. A lot of time, I wear my talis cotton on top of my clothes. I know that, like, for example, the Satmar Rebbe in Monroe is big. He pushes that very much. He said, don't be embarrassed to have your tzitzis out. And because he knows that, although the majority of people in his community always wear their talis katan on top of their shirt. Some don't, and some might even tuck in their tzitzis. And I mean, I had a Rebbe, my Rav, Rabbi Fishbane, he wears talis katan under his shirt because he follows more Litvish way. Although there are some Litvish people, even in America, who wear the talis katan on top. I heard that, I think the Rosh Hashiva from Scranton goes like that. I haven't met him. Maybe I should try to meet him. What was I talking about? But the standard Hasidic practice is you wear the tzitzis on top. I don't know what he does now, but my Rebbe from high school, who's a very popular speaker, and the Rav in Long Island, Rabbi Moshe Weinberger, when I was in high school, how I remember him was Shabbos, he wore the talis katan on top, and during the week he wore it under his shirt. That's something I did for a long time, and generally now I'm more wearing it on top, but sometimes yes, sometimes no. It depends what I'm wearing. This Shabbos is probably the first time in a long time where I actually wore my talis katan under my shirt, and the reason was because I was wearing a tie and I wanted people to see my tie. And I wasn't wearing Bekisha most of the time, although I did part of the time, even publicly this past Shabbos. I wasn't home. I was not in a Jewish environment for Shabbos. But still, I was able to do my best to keep Shabbos and so forth. But let's put that aside. The story that I always bring up with this is, like I said, a friend of mine from college. We went to high school together. We didn't go to college. He didn't go to college. We were in high school and we were in Bismedrash together. And we were chavrusas in Bismedrash. He's a little older than me. And he's a very distinguished Talmid Chacham. He got very distinguished smichas, and now he's like assistant rabbi in a shul, in a kollel. I think he's like assistant Rosh Kollel or something. Brilliant person. Worked very hard to make himself into a Talmid Chacham. And he said for about like a week he attended a secular college, and he realized it's not for him. His parents were pushing him. Wasn't for him. And he went and sat and learned he's still sitting and learning. He said that he was an African American student there. It's like, I know what those are. Those are tzitzit. And I said to him, I'm not going to embarrass him by mentioning his name. But I said, Rabbi so-and-so. He wasn't a rabbi then, but he's a Persian, Mashadi, and he the custom of the Sephardim is interesting. According to the Shulchan Aruch, you're supposed to do like the Hasidim do, where the garment on top of your shirt. According to the Arizal, the garment should be hidden, and even the tzitzis should be hidden. And so even like what most of the literature people do is like they'll have the like what I'm doing now. Talis katan is under the shirt and the tzitzis are hanging out. Some people will keep them in. I know like in Chafetz Chaim, that's the minhag. That's the hanhaga. I won't say minhag. And I'm pretty sure the Chafetz Chaim wears talis katan on top of his shirt. I might be wrong, but I think he did. At least when he was older. I'm sure the Vilner Gaon did also. But the Arizal says actually that the talis katan and the tzitzis should be hidden. And it's interesting, the Sephardim follow the Arizal, and the Hasidim follow the Shulchan Aruch, follow the Mechaber. It's interesting how it's reversed. I said, why were you wearing your tzitzis out in yeshiva? He didn't do that. He said, because Chacham Ovadia was alive at the time. used to go see him. He would speak at the yeshiva that was across the street from Or Sameach, like once a week, and we would go and sit there couldn't really understand him so well, but we would sit there and be in his presence. Chacham Avadia said that if you need chizuk, you need encouragement, you need strength, you keep the tzitzis out. Now you might think, oh, someone who's covered up is strong, but here it's open. Is that connected? That's how I always understood it. That you're getting the chizuk by having your walls open and not hiding your Judaism behind a wall. But you could take it the other way also. It's that you're recognizing your inherent weakness, which is okay. You're being honest with yourself. You know who you are. You know where you are. You know what you are. You know that you're weak, and so you need the wall. And the tzitzis are the wall. That's another way to understand it. And I'm struggling with this because, I'm working now in the secular world, well, not secular world, but I'm working in a very religious world, but a non-Jewish world. But this week I was in a very secular environment because I went away. We talked about Monster Bash. Maybe at another time we'll do our wrap-up a week late. We tried to do it, didn't work. And then here I am with Kloisenberg Mikveh. I haven't been here in a while. And then we what do you call it? We make so whatever. I was there, and when I was at Monster Bash, like I said, I wasn't trying to hide being Jewish. I just I don't have to dress Hasidish right now, although on Shabbos I dress differently, I at work I'm not allowed to wear shorts, so when Chol Hamoed comes I still go into work because it's Melechas HaKodesh, and so I'm struggling with how to do that. And so what I do is I actually, because I wear Pepperdehosen. I mean, I know Gerim who wear Pepperdehosen. I know people who are not the name Shel Kedoshim who wear Pepperdehosen. I started to wear Pepperdehosen already. I was a Rav in Richmond, Virginia. I was wearing a white Becker shirt and black pants. I was like, I should wear Pepperdehosen. I went and I got long Pepperdehosen. I know it's weird. Nobody wears that. I'm weird. I'm doing something a little different. So I was like, you know what, this year at Monster Bash, that's what I'm going to wear. I think last year I did too. And sometimes I just feel like I don't want to go put my socks back on, I want to wear my Crocs and go to daven at the Modern Minyan or something. There's no Hasidim there. So I'll do that. And I wore my white vest, and I usually don't wear a tie on Shabbos, but it was Monster Bash, and I have this really nice King Kong tie. So I wanted people to see it, so if I wore my tzitzis on top of the shirt, it wouldn't work out. So I wore the King Kong tie. Also wore a boater hat, like the 20s style boater hat. I looked pretty cool, actually. And then whatever, I came back. When I davened, I put on Bekasha, Streimel, and then when I came back, I did one time wear my Bekasha, a colorful Bekasha, like a robe type, and people liked it, whatever. And just the yarmulke, not the Streimel, but I keep saying one time I'm going to come with the Streimel into Monster Bash. But anyway, And at that point, I felt like I didn't need the tie anymore. I'd already davened mincha. I think I might have already eaten shalosh shudas. Anyway, and then this whole week I was at a training, and they told us dress casually. So I still had my tzitzis out most of the time. I did wear a cap. I haven't put this Bieber hit on for a while. Let me put it on. Let me be Jewish again. You know, let me put on the talis cotton on top. I have this here. This has been sitting here. It's not the nicest talis cotton, but let me be a Jew again. I have a lot of tshuva to do, but I don't know which is which. You know, I don't know which is which. Is it the? I have a bakasha here too. I'll put on the bakasha. I'm going to go to the mikveh now. So, even though I'm wearing a polo shirt, it's going to look silly. I don't care. And I don't know which is which. I don't know what am I doing in my life. Which is strong, which is weak? Am I admitting my weakness? Is it okay to admit my weakness? And I think, is it the same thing with the wall on the border? It's okay to admit our weakness. It's okay to admit that we need to fix these things. Again, I know that's not, I don't want to get into, but I'm saying, yeah, we're weak, and we got to make ourselves strong. So we need the tzitzis out. We need, you know, I mean, I still have my beard and payas, and I'm not a tzaddik. I'm not, you know, I'm a konchivatin. Medaf zayin v'tzoy v'shoiv. You have to be a baki ba'alocha to know how to do tshuva, to run back and forth, and not give up. And we can run from the beginning of the parsha to the end of the parsha, and tie them together with the strings of the tzitzis. Are you strong? Are you weak? You're going to have your tzitzis out. You're going to have your tzitzis in. Even if you have your tzitzis in, act like they're out. Even you don't have a yarmulke on your head. Even if you're wearing a cap or you're wearing nothing. Not a halacha, you have to wear a yarmulke. It's just something we do, you know. These are things to have in mind. You're supposed to wear a yarmulke, yeah. You know, it is a halacha, like in Shulchan Aruch, whether or not it's a real obligation or not, you can discuss. But, you know, at least when you go into shul and you daven, things like that, you know. So, I gotta, you know, I gotta fix my life. But this lesson, you know, I was such a zealot when I was younger. Now I'm barely frum. I mean, yeah, I keep Chol Yisrael and Pas Yisrael, and well, I might have messed up with Pas Yisrael the other day. I don't know. Something I wasn't sure not whether it had to be Pas Yisrael, and that kind of weighed on me. And then I do worse things, and I don't think of much about that, or I don't talk about it. You know. Baruch Hashem, we can always do tshuva. Hope is never lost. That's a powerful, powerful message that we have to embrace. We can always, 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 always come back. Don't give up. Don't think it's lost. Go back and forth. R'tzai v'shoif, r'tzai v'shoif, r'tzai v'shoif. Run back and forth, run back and forth, run back and forth. All right. We should be zeicher to do these things and live these things. I don't even know what to say. Thank you for watching. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe. Comment. We'll see you later.